this next story, it is something that really hit me, I would say personally, because it's really about this. It's a YouTuber, right? And the YouTuber or the YouTube name is like Cash Jordan, right? And I ran into Cash's videos after traveling the U.S., right? So before coming to these videos, I went to New York City and I walked around. I think I only spent maybe like a week there or something. But the idea was, I had a good feeling about the place. So when I seen Cash's video, my mouth I imagine like my mouth actually dropped, right? Because this guy, he was talking about the migration crisis in New York. And I remember watching his videos like an absolute idiot, wondering what went wrong in this short amount of time. This could have been like a year or something, right? I was like, geez, it really went crazy. And come to find out, nothing went wrong. This guy, Cash, or this YouTube channel, I don't know if that's his name, he produces clickbait and essentially just red meat for just Republicans who are just essentially just trying to ignore the millionaires that fund their representatives and just blame all the immigrants for everything. And that idea is I don't know what would I do know that there's probably tremendous ad revenue in just producing this type of thing, but this guy's thumbnails, the way he frames things, what he focuses on, probably how he makes sure to document at just the right time. If you get and you understand New York through this YouTube channel, you would think that this place is a hellscape, an absolute hellscape. And that right there, it is something this is interesting because it's just people live by something now. I think or people have started living by something, or content creators have started living by this idea that all attention is good attention, right? And that is really due to really just the social media and a lot of these tech companies just realizing reactionary content is actually good for how long that people spend on their platform or something like that. There's even something with Facebook where they were intentionally feeding people rage baiting people basically with through their algorithm. It was these guys are just if you look into any of these guys are disgusting. But the idea is this is essentially just a way to monetize content for particularly this guy Cash, right? And we'll talk about another I guess a creators too. But this idea is it's interesting because people I think are coming to a conclusion that there is a lot of they're not improving from the technology, the apps, the content that they're consuming. And they're going to come to an understanding of why that is, right? And that idea of them coming to that understanding, I don't think that's really a far reach. We all understand that technology is doing us just tremendous bad in terms of especially millennials, right? The people who have kind of grew up a little before the age of the proliferation of cell phones, right? And now, right? So and a lot of us are coming into a more mature age to where we're kind of control, or we're about to start controlling more and more. And that idea of these guys, right? The people who who are monetizing now, that it's not something that I don't think is going to be overlooked. And we'll talk about really this other example before we really get into hammering down on that point. But there's another, besides Cash Jordan's the YouTube channel, there's a content creator, I would call him, I guess. He goes by Adam22, right? And this guy literally has decided to call the guy Coffeezilla, who called him out. He calls Coffeezilla a grifter because Coffeezilla has decided to basically make a channel that holds these people accountable. And I mean, today that's going to become more and more important in terms of people, individuals taking that responsibility, but we'll talk about that later. But the idea is that Adam22 really, I'm going to link two things. One is about Cash Jordan, rage baiting people. Brilliant YouTuber, or brilliant video came out. I have not checked out a lot of her stuff, but I'm sure it's really great. But there is one video that I think really explains it well, and also the idea of Coffeezilla's video on Adam22 is something that I'll also link out. And this is particularly the video where Coffeezilla addresses Adam22, calling him a grifter, which is, is wild, because I don't even think I said why. Coffeezilla called Adam22 out because Adam22 sold his fans, or sold his following, and basically a meme coin, right? So the idea was, hey, these are, this is my meme coin, you should totally buy into it, and this and that. And it's crazy that this stuff is legal. But the idea of what I think is really important in terms of why I think it's worth mentioning is because Coffee shows a clip of Adam22 where he says something that really sheds light on what I think many celebrities and influencers think when they decide to go down this route, and what the conclusion that they come to before they go down this route. And the idea is that everyone just kind of lets this slide. This kind of just, nobody's really getting in trouble for this, right? And in this idea, this concept of a renaissance, we are on a cusp of really, I would say, genuine change, right? And genuine change involving repairing parts of the society that we've really just taken for granted as just simply not dysfunctional, right? We know these things are bad, right? We've really understood that there are people like Cash Jordan and Adam22 that are choosing to monetize based on toxic patterns. And that is this particular idea of change. It's not like that. We're not talking about people like RFK promising to make America healthy again, and then coming into office to declare anti-Semitism like a health crisis, or pledging to find the cause of autism so Elon can stop waving to the crowds in funny ways. We're talking about change where people, the public, the general public, are holding people accountable for what they do, right? And this idea is going to be it's gonna happen independent of whether the the sitting president administration, they whether they lack morals or principles. People are going to wake up to the reality that uh, these things aren't allowed. They're not going to be allowed, and the people who have benefit off of them, I think that they believe that they are seeing the real price tag in terms of gauging people's response, right? Coming to the understanding that, hey, everybody's just kind of letting this stuff slide. I don't think they understand that this concept of them being on record doing this stuff is not going to be something. It's not going to be something they were able to really gauge by looking around, right? Uh, this idea is, I think, is a good example. Is this there's a politician, or there was a politician, right? And his name was Frank Church, right? And Frank Church, he ascended in politics or whatever, but he led a committee of people to investigate, in particular things like the CIA, or organizations like the CIA and the FBI. The idea was these guys have gotten off the rails, right? And I don't, by no means, like, I feel like I am so skeptical of just the government in general in terms of people in the government, but there was a lot uncovered, and apparently it hasn't all been disclosed to the public in terms of what's been uncovered. But the committee found, and they embarrassed the CIA and the FBI. And I mean, it was just going off script a little bit. I just remember one moment where, like, one guy who, like, helped form the committee, he actually, like, came to tears when he realized that the FBI was really harassing, like, Martin Luther King, because he was told, he was telling his personal family members, like, man, the FBI wouldn't do these things. And when that came out in the committee, like, the guy was just like, he was like, he like, it really struck him that he was really, misled to believe a lot of that stuff. And I think that was kind of a moment to where it's just like, that was a genuine understanding that a lot of these people may have in certain cases. I still hold a lot of skepticism, but that was pretty crazy to think that, that this guy was telling his personal family members that there was nothing going on and there was nothing to see. And it turned out that there was actually a lot to see. But anyway, in this particular committee, it came up to where Frank Church was asked, hey, look, these telephone companies, they were following unlawful orders, right? But it was the government. It came from the government. And the idea was, do we publish their names in the report? And Frank decided to put their names in the report, right? And that right there, that act, that was a message to all the other companies that the government, the government is not to be just listened to without any regard for the law or morality in general. They had a moment to where it was just like, hey, we did this, we betrayed our customers. Now you're going to be on this list and you're going to be exposed with everybody else. And the lesson was, these companies decided to listen, to unethical orders, to just unlawful, unjust orders, regardless of if it was coming from a government. They were going to be listed as complicit in the future. People are going to, and now in the future, people are going to know. And future generations, I think, are looking back now at these guys who are choosing to benefit off of things that they know are morally unjust. They know are just morally just corrupt. But they're going to listen, but they're going to have to come to a moment to where it's just like, no, you guys get on the, like, there's no, we're not gonna save these guys who decided to, like, try to make money off their supporters and stuff like that, and selling meme coins, and doing clickbait. They need to be on here too. This is not an accurate representation, or this is, like, actually a literal scam. We're going to put them on there for the record, so people know and understand what this is. And people need to understand that, like, there's a cost, right? And the cost doesn't necessarily have to be something that is immediately observable. We have to understand that cost is going to essentially be something that really is more likely to be hidden when we talk about things around completely just violating our own moral principles.